All right. Hey, everyone. I'm here with Melissa Frye, who is a acquisitions librarian at the Sandwich Public Library. How are you doing today, Melissa?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. So in this crazy time, can you kind of go back a little bit and talk about how the library was reacting or how you personally were reacting when things started to really unfold like a couple weeks ago?
Sure. So, we at the library are really lucky that we get to interact with the public on a daily basis. We provide a lot of services, especially for the like high risk groupings.
Hmm.
So we kind of had been like preparing ourselves from before it even started to get widespread, just to
Yeah.
kind of make sure that we were taking that extra step to, try to be washing our hands and making sure that we were like distancing from patrons and things like that. But I think for us, when we heard that school was going to close, that was kind of when we realized that we would be heading in that direction too.
Yeah.
It was very much a day-to-day, sometimes like hour-to-hour thing for us at the library. We went through a lot of changes. Initially, we were going to only be allowing a few people into the building at a time.
Hmm.
And then eventually that turned into like a full closure to the public. And then eventually that turned into a full closure for even us not being in the building.
Yeah.
Definitely an adjustment. It's really strange to not go into work every day or see my coworkers. It's really
Right.
weird not to see our patrons. But we feel really lucky that we have a lot of resources for patrons that can do digital
Right.
items as well. So
I know in a lot of the past videos we've done together, you've always talked about Overdrive and Hoopla, and now
yep.
it actually can come into practice, and
Yes.
good thing you guys had that established before, and I've used it before too. It's incredible just to rent books remotely on your Kindle and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I feel like this is definitely a test for all of us of how tech savvy we all are. We're all
Right.
trying to use these new methods of communication. We have a lot of patrons that kind of had been coming in a few weeks ahead of our closure saying like, hey, if this kind of goes crazy, like I want to make sure I can download my books.
Oh, that's great.
So that was great. We had a lot of people that were preparing for that. We also have great like online resources for our patrons to use right on our website to kind of help you get set up if you haven't done it before. It really is great that libraries are able to offer so many of these digital platforms for their patrons, and it's free of charge, which right now is such a huge, the last thing you want to worry about is like, oh, should I really spend $20 downloading this book? Or
Right.
You can get it for free.
I know, it's amazing. Yeah, it's such a great service. So leading up to kind of everything, how, like even right now, have you been communicating with patrons? Like, is there a lot of open lanes, like lines of communication with dealing with that stuff, or is it kind of just all prior? Mostly is what you're thinking.
It was so most of our communication with patrons was before, keeping everybody just aware of what was going on, what the library was going to be looking like going forward, and letting them know, our network did a great job of like jumping right into action and making sure that like patron materials aren't due until April 27th. So nobody had to worry about like, oh my gosh, I can't get back to the library with my books.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So there's been a lot of like broad communication like that. But as far as like personally between librarians and our patrons, I don't know. I mean, me personally, I definitely am keeping an eye on like social media. If anyone has any questions about books or book suggestions, I'm happy to answer them for people. I know that all of our library inquiries, Joanne put out a great message to our patrons, and it's on our website as well, letting them know that they can contact her with any questions that they might have about their materials.
Oh, that's great to know.
Yeah.
So you kind of mentioned it before, but just as like, so what do people do if they have a book that they just have? Like, can they just simply drop it off still, or
no?
Oh,
so the book drop's actually closed at the library right now.
Okay.
So the whole building is closed. We're not accepting returns at this time, but your books are not due until April 27th.
Okay.
So you can hold on to it. Obviously, if that situation were to change, like I said, the network's been great about keeping us updated, and they'll obviously push that out further.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that libraries are going to be very gracious when this all when we kind of reopen.
Yeah.
So please don't hesitate. Like, just hold on to your books, hold on to your DVDs. You know, we're not going to be like, oh, sorry, you should have got that back on time.
The first day back,
But you
yeah.
have plenty of time. We have almost the whole month of April to hold on to your
So it's kind of a
items.
lucky thing for a lot of people who pulled out books or DVDs. They get a little
right?
extra length.
Get a little extra time.
Yeah. Cool. So then I know we kind of briefly talked about it before, but I know people are struggling a lot with, things to do being cooped up at home. And so I was like, maybe if you can provide some recommendations or things like that you guys can.
Yeah, I would be happy to. So we do a lot of reading in my household anyway, but everybody has a little more free time than usual right now.
Yeah.
So we've been doing a lot of reading. I have some great suggestions for stuff that we've read here at my house. And then I also reached out to my coworkers at the library to find out what they were reading too.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll just do real quick what we've been reading here at my house. So I have two kids. I have a 6th grader and a 4th grader. So we've been doing a lot of like almost middle grade, almost young adult reading. And then I've been doing a lot of adult reading myself too. So my daughter just finished The Diary of Anne Frank
Wow.
by Anne Frank for school. That was like a school assignment. So she finished that up. My son and I are reading A Boy Called Bat by Alana Arnold. That was an MCBA selection last year, and he and I are reading it kind of like as a little book club where we read a couple chapters and then we talk about what happened.
Nice.
Great book. Totally recommend for like 3rd and 4th graders. It's a really good read.
And I'll probably if you have the list of these too, I can post it in like the comment or the description.
Oh, awesome.
So then people can just kind of look them up after.
But, yeah, great. Yeah. I'll send you like a little, I'll type it up and send it to you.
That'd be great.
We also, my daughter and I are both reading Restart by Gordon Corman. That's our MCBA book selection for this year that we're reading. She just finished reading Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. I just finished a really good middle grade book called The Prophet Calls by Melanie.
I can also pause the recording too if you want.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, awesome.
So now we're back on. We had a little phone call, but we're back in. So if
great.
you want to keep going.
Yep. So it's The Prophet Calls by Melanie Sumrow. Great book. Loved this book. Like probably read it in like 3 hours.
Wow.
Great read. Highly suggest for 6th graders and up. Definitely not just a kid's book. It deals with a girl who's growing up in a polygamous religious cult.
Oh, geez.
And it was just like, it was really, really well done.
Yeah.
Highly suggest that one. I also read The Last Day by Luann Rice. That's a new one, really good. Never have read anything by her. Kind of thought she was like a romance author, so haven't really done anything with her. But this was great. It was a mystery. Really kept you on the edge of your seat. Totally didn't know what was coming at the end.
Oh, cool.
Sarah Pekanen and Greer Hendricks have a new book called You Are Not Alone. They wrote Anonymous Girl and The Wife Between Us, which we've talked about on our episodes for SCTV before. Mm-hmm. Awesome book. Told from a couple different viewpoints. Really, really good. Did not see the end coming. So that's always exciting.
Yeah.
And I just started The Last Patient by Alex Michaelides, which is one I've been really wanting to read. So now I finally have time to read it. I'm very excited about that. Some of my coworkers are reading the 2019 Best American Science and Nature Writing by Cy Montgomery. Beyond the Bright Sea by Lauren Wolk, which is also an MCBA nominated book this year.
Oh, great.
Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekanen. The Care and Feeding of a Pet Black Hole by Michelle Cuevas, which is also an MCBA book. So that one is a children's book. Pachenko by Min Jin Lee. Dear Edward.
I've read that one actually. That one's great. Pachenko.
Yeah. My coworker who suggested it said it was really, really good. Like very timely, even though it's kind of like historical fiction.
Right.
Like, really well done.
Yeah.
Dear Edward by Anne Napolitano, which that one's I think that one's pretty much brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson, which is supposed to be I think it's supposed to be kind of like darkly funny.
Yeah.
I think a lot of his stuff is that way, but the cover is hilarious. I think it's the right one I'm thinking of, but it's about this family who has a child that can they self-combust like at different points during their life. I don't know. It sounded really
So it's like
funny.
science fiction-y, like
kind of, but like I think it's more like family fiction-y, like than science fiction-y, but
yeah,
it's supposed to be really good. It got great reviews, and my coworker who read it really liked it.
Oh, nice.
The Yellow House by Sarah Broom, which we actually talked about in our last episode. That's an award winner from this past year.
Okay, cool.
And Olive Again by Elizabeth Strout. It's the sequel to Olive Kittredge.
Okay.
So if you enjoyed that, make sure you are on the lookout.
Awesome.
I think most of these books are probably available as downloadable content on Overdrive or Hoopla. Mm-hmm. Obviously, right now, there are going to be wait times for stuff because everybody's using it. But definitely worth a read if you get a chance to check out some of these titles.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the time to do it with all the free time going on.
Yeah.
I'm reading right now Severance. I forget by who's it by? Ling Ma. And it's apocalypse happening, in a very modern take. So it's
very timely.
Yeah, a little too timely in a way.
Right.
But it's a great time to catch up on reading. Is there any sort of, so being part of like the public library system in the nation, is there any sort of information given from other libraries that you're taking from? Like, how is information transported? Do you guys even kind of work along with other libraries or communicate with other libraries much?
Sometimes, yes. Not really right now. I think because everybody's kind of in this position where they're like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Like, working from home as a librarian is very different than like working from home. Like if you're like, oh, I can just set up my laptop and work on my work here.
Yeah.
But we definitely libraries are really good about pushing out what they're doing on social media. They're really good about being visible in that space. So there are quite a few libraries that I follow just to kind of keep tabs on and see, like Boston Public Library.
Right.
It's good to know like what they're doing and how they're like reassuring their patrons. And I think we also are seeing right now a lot of libraries are really stepping up and helping fill the void now that kids are out of school. Libraries are doing an amazing job of pushing out, like, here are websites you can go to. Here are some great books that you can do. Here are some great authors that are doing read-alouds or learn how to draw. I know Mo Willems, and I just saw a thing today that Dave Pilkey, who wrote Captain Underpants and Dogman, he's going to start doing, like, read-alouds and drawing classes, like, right online.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I think the whole, like, reading community, librarians, authors, illustrators are really coming together to kind of help students who might be missing out on those things that they get at school.
Right. Yeah. Which is a ton. And then kind of speaking on behalf of the huge part of your life is being a mother of 2 kids. How is going through this whole process like then? I mean, I can't even imagine.
It's good. It's been really different. This is definitely not something I have ever prepared myself for. My kids are awesome though. They jumped right in. We set up a little schedule, like, you guys are going to read for 30 minutes every day. You're going to practice your instrument, and then, we'll try to do some math stuff. Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's playing a game or cooking together. Sometimes it's going on to, like, they have math resources online that they use at school.
Yeah.
But it's been good. I think it's tough for them socially. They don't get to see their friends every day.
Oh, yeah.
But we feel the same. I mean, adults feel the same way too. We don't get to see our coworkers every day. It's weird.
I know. Yeah. It's kind of a weird, I've been talking to more and more people. It's very flatlining. Everyone's kind of, even though your kids and you are very different, you guys are in the same position,
Yeah, it is. It's definitely weird, but it's been going well. They're just starting. We've been getting a lot of communication from the school. And it looks like they're definitely going to be shifting this week to a more structured, like, school driven type schedule. So we kind of were winging it on our own for the last couple of weeks.
I feel like everyone was kind of in that place,
Yeah.
right? Even the schools probably just trying to
So
figure out how to
true.
do it. Yeah, try to figure this all out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess to kind of wrap it up, do you have any, so can you give some information about what obviously things will change dramatically depending on whatever, government says, but what is
Right.
the current plans for the library at this point? When do you guys plan to reopen?
So as of right now, I believe not just the library, but all other like town buildings, like non-essential town buildings.
Yeah.
As of right now, we're still slated to, I don't want to say be open,
Sure,
but
yeah,
we were
it's
told
subject to
April
change.
7th
Yeah.
would be like our kind of like date to be getting back into it.
Okay.
I have not heard otherwise. I feel like everything changes so frequently
Right,
now. I
yeah.
can't even like make a guess.
Right, yeah, because everyone
But
doesn't know what to expect.
but I do know that your library materials are good until April 27th.
Which is the
So
important
you don't
part,
have to worry about that.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And is there any sort of other final statements? I know a lot of people have been kind of using this platform to kind of, give something along the lines of supporting restaurants or local arts or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything else,
I've been so happy and proud of the people of Sandwich. I feel like we've done such an awesome job supporting our local businesses. A lot of our restaurants have switched over to takeout and curbside, and it's just been great. I know in our house, we're trying to at least once a week support a different business in town, either getting takeout or buying a gift card online, just to kind of keep things going. We don't want that. Everybody's kind of suffering right now, and we don't want them to, get behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
But we're definitely here for you. The librarians, we might not be in the library, but we're here, and, we're happy that you guys are using our online resources, and we're really looking forward to seeing you guys again.
I know. I think we all
are. Library.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you spending the time with me, Melissa. And,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This was great.
We'll be reading a lot, hopefully.
I know. I hope so. Right?
Yeah. All right. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too.
Okay.